Today I decided to make this video to share with you the reason why I decided to resign as cabin crew from Emirates Airline. When I finished school and I was 18 years old, I decided to study for 4 years in order to achieve my Bachelor of Education, and this was in foundation phase teaching. When I was about halfway through my fourth and final year of studying my degree, one of my best friends who I've been friends with since I was a baby, her name is Lizanne, she told me all about Emirates cabin crew and encouraged me to go for the interview that they were holding in Cape Town at the time. Now, Emirates in the past, when I had applied, was only interviewing in Cape Town about every 6 months. So I decided to go for it and try and get in to become cabin crew for Emirates. My thoughts were, if I do get the job with Emirates, that I would take it as a gap year and almost get to travel the world for a year, because I didn't do that when I finished school. I went straight into studying. So that was almost the idea for me if I did get the job. However, I really did not expect to get the job. I saw how many people applied and my expectations were not super high. So when I did eventually get it, it came as a huge surprise. When I arrived at the interview day, which is actually called an assessment day, so a whole lot of people come, and we did it at a hotel in Cape Town, and there was over, I would say probably about 200 people at the assessment day. So they go through rounds of elimination, and eventually they brought it down to 20 something people over a 2-day period of full-on intense assessments and presentations. After the 20 people made it through to the final round, we got taken to a one-on-one interview, which was 1 hour long, and then a few months later I received what Emirates crew call the golden call, for them to tell me that I have actually made it and I am going to get the job as cabin crew in Dubai. I then decided to pack up my life in South Africa and move across to Dubai for 1 year. That was the initial intention. And I ended up loving this job so much that I stayed for, I've just completed 4.5 years as cabin crew. About 1 year ago, I started looking at the potential of teaching in Dubai, not because I didn't want to be cabin crew, but just because I thought that that was the right move to make in order to prepare for my future and what I really wanted out of life. Being cabin crew is a fantastic job, but for me, it's not a job that I can make a career out of and do for the rest of my life. For some people it is, it's definitely a career for them, but for me it was a job for now, and teaching is definitely my passion and something that I want to go into and do for my career and for the rest of my life. 1 year ago, I started looking at teaching jobs in Dubai, only to realize that it is very difficult to get a teaching job in Dubai unless you have 2 years of experience. So what I found is that a lot of the schools have recruiting companies that recruit for them, and they basically go through all of the CVs and hand over the best CVs to the schools. And unfortunately, they always used to just kind of put my CV aside because I don't have any teaching experience. I did, however, do 1 year as a teacher assistant in South Africa in my fourth and final year of studying. But yeah, that doesn't really count towards your teaching experience. So unfortunately, I really struggled to try and get a teaching job in Dubai. So eventually, after sending my CV to almost every single school in the whole of Dubai, I got really discouraged from the process because I realized that most of the schools were rejecting my CV, and it was kind of for me a dead end because I realized that I don't have the 2 years of experience and it's going to be very difficult to get those 2 years. However, I was still very happy with my job as cabin crew, so I decided to just continue with that and see what happens. I actually went for one interview only at a school in Dubai, and that was in December 2019. So I went for the interview, and unfortunately I didn't hear anything back from that school. So again, very discouraging, and I had almost given up in a way, because I just thought there's no ways that this is actually going to be possible. And then coronavirus came and we were all in lockdown. We stopped flying completely for almost 3 months, and that was in March 2020. And yeah, basically I Last year I had gotten to a point where I could easily have given up the job as cabin crew, but when lockdown came around, I started seriously missing flying and missing being able to travel. And you know, when something's taken away from you, you realize how much you appreciate it. I appreciated my job with Emirates so much more because I couldn't do it. And it was really, really tough. And I just thought, like, this job is everything to me, and I missed it so much when we couldn't do the job, when we couldn't fly. And then in the middle of lockdown, I got another email from the same school that I had interviewed with in December last year to ask me if I would like to do an online final interview with them. This came as a complete shock to me, and I did not see it coming. I hadn't applied again for schools this year. I had only done it in 2019. So anyway, I just emailed them back like, yeah, why not? I've got nothing to lose. So I went ahead and did the interview via Skype with that school in Dubai. And they actually ended up offering me a job at their school starting August 2020, which is currently in 15 days that I'm supposed to be starting. Now, if they had offered me this job last year, I would have jumped at the opportunity because, as you know, I was searching for jobs in Dubai and I was really trying to get into the teaching industry. However, now that I had been missing flying so much, I was almost in two minds, like, should I take it? Should I not take it? So it was really a seriously tough decision for me. I'm very lucky in the fact that I decided to take the job and resign with Emirates, and I still got to fly 3 flights in the last month. So that was for me like a closing of an era, really. So it was fantastic, and I was so happy that I got to do those last 3 flights because it just really helped me to find some closure because of the fact that I hadn't flown in so long, and I was really worried that would make me miss the job even more when I take the teaching post. So yeah, I will start teaching on hopefully the 1st of September. The government in the UAE have said that that's when the students are allowed to come to school. So we will just hold thumbs that actually happens. The school have told me that I will be teaching children between the ages of 4 and 8. They haven't given me my exact year group as of yet. Another thing that played a huge part in my decision on taking this job was the fact that I do get a salary cut compared to what I've been earning with Emirates. I think I earn as a teacher about 40% less than I would earn with Emirates. So that was obviously a huge factor in the decision making. But for me, this is almost an investment into my future because if Miguel, my fiance, and I want to stay in the UAE and potentially have children here one day, I will not be able to be cabin crew and have children. I know a lot of people do it, but I just don't think that would work out very well for me. I feel like I need to be based in a certain location on a daily basis if I plan to have children. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm hoping to make a few more videos. I actually want to find all of my travel videos and put them together in like one huge video of all the destinations that I've been to. But yeah, I am so thankful for this job that I've had with the airline. It has been more than I could ever imagine in my wildest dreams. I've seen more countries than I could ever expect to see in my lifetime, and I'm just so grateful. I'm really happy that my fiance, soon to be husband, is still in the industry, so he is still cabin crew, and that's great because at least I get to experience things kind of through his eyes, and I get to hear about all the flights that he's been on. One of the things that I'm looking forward to the most is the amount of school holidays that I will get. So as Emirates crew, you get 30 days of leave per year. As a teacher, I have worked it out, and I get more or less about 13 weeks of leave per year, which for me is just going to be absolutely life-changing. You know, when we moved to Dubai as Emirates crew, you give up so much. You give up Christmas with your family, you give up seeing your family on their birthdays. I've been in the company for 4.5 years and I've never got Christmas leave, so this would have been the 5th year in a row without leave to go home for Christmas. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you give up in order to do this job. Obviously there's a lot of positives to this job too. As you all know, it's not a job that I didn't like. I absolutely loved my job. So yeah, it's basically for me, I'm investing in my future, and I needed to take this step. If I hadn't got the push from the school, I think I probably would have stayed cabin crew for the next 5 to 10 years. So yeah, I really needed a push in the right direction, and the job offer from the school has definitely given that opportunity to me, and I'm so grateful for that. It's almost like I'm letting go of a whole lot of my past, and the past 4 years have been the most incredible 4.5 years of my life, and I'm so thankful for that. But yeah, here's going on to the next chapter, and I'm super excited for it. It's a step in the right direction, and I really can't wait.